Hey guys, Crew Runaway back. I'm Rick.
I'm Maggie.
We're back with Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. Last time on...
We met a bunch of people. Don't know...
In Section 9.
Yeah. Don't know who the names actually go to very much. Just got a big list of them. Not even sure if I wrote them down right.
Your first introduction to the characters, having not seen the movie.
Yeah. I'd like to actually meet them closer, I guess. We have the setup for a story, like a problem, and we got some world building. Basically, I didn't feel like I got much of character building besides Togoza, the one that's the only one that's unmodified human.
Sure.
And seemed okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting enough for other people to ask him about it. Like, yo, do you really think you're that perfect? I guess.
And then we have Major Kusanagi,
yep.
Sort of in charge of the ground team. And yeah, I thought last episode was really interesting, and I can't wait to see more.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get to it. What?
I feel like that's one of the first things they would have done is just connect two brains together and see what happens.
Maybe.
You test it carefully, like you get twins.
Two brains?
Yeah. You get a couple of twins.
I see what you're saying.
As genetically, identical as possible. And then, connect them together via your,
Well, yeah,
VGA cables.
I wonder, what are the ethical restrictions in this world? Clearly there's religion, and some people of at least that one religion, maybe multiple, feel that, cybernetics and what was the other thing they said? Prosthetic bodies.
Yeah.
Was, against their religion.
And there seem to be also, organized groups, at least, as well. So, I mean, much like today, you have groups for and opposed certain
the hardest
things that seems like it would be kind of a basic thing.
Well, I mean, that's...
The kid died at 28.
That's the hard thing, right? Of what is the soul? And can the soul be digitized and transferred? Was Kago's soul in that tank? Or did Kago's soul die and was gone? Or is there no such thing as a soul? And if there's no such thing as a soul, then how can a brain function? I feel like a brain would have to be so heavily modified in order to be taken out of a body. But maybe not.
I mean, if
it happens suddenly.
If you see the brain as just a pattern mapping of electrical impulses on a biological computer that's too far in advance of any technology we have currently. And I mean, energy can be moved. Anything can be moved, technically. What we call soul, maybe they consider just the part of the brain that they haven't fully technologically explored.
It could be moved, but it would be such a shock to... I mean, it happens to people.
I mean, our brain is made to take in certain sensory data.
Mm-hmm. But those functions can be lost. You can be born blind, you can go blind.
Yeah, and people with prosthetic arms have the ability, they connect them up in such a way that's your brain could literally make it do things. You can, so there is some crossover there. Maybe maybe stuff works better if you do it at a younger age as well, when the brain is allowed to grow with some of that.
Would you always
input
be hungry and never be able to be full? Or...
Well, yeah, that's basically where the idea drops off, basically, because so much of what we feel is
so much of what
chemical.
drives us, is chemical response conditions aimed towards survival.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have to rethink how those happen, because I feel like it would just drive you crazy if it was a random thing.
Yeah, if you were just constantly getting all this random
or
chemical.
If you got it constantly, I can't imagine that would be good either.
Yeah, a constant panic attack, you just But if they were able to like duplicate the chemical responses to maybe there'd have to be some sort of like a transfer way of basically the brain. Every single brain would have like a different language almost that would have to teach an interface or something in order to translate.
Even just language, like so much of language is, I mean, you could modulate pitch and tone and things, but you wouldn't be able to make facial expressions. Like it would be hard to, I feel like, socially connect with people. But I guess blind people can.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of their communication happens just brain to brain.
True.
And maybe that's why that Bato uses phrases like okie dokie and stuff so much. Maybe instead of like using a great deal of like facial expressions and such, they use language. No one seems super surprised that they put a guy's brain in the tank.
Sure. Well, we saw a brain transfer happen before between like what I imagine would be a harder thing. I guess I don't know.
Well, I mean, that case was specifically designed to keep a brain alive.
Yeah, but that, like, it was from my head to case into your head.
Yeah.
Was the pattern.
But I don't know. But in a case, like, it would just be kind of like suspended, I guess. But controlling that tank would be interfacing with it, like having knowing what it feels like to make guns boom and turning the turret and just all sorts of things, knowing like, where you are even. Like,
yeah, it might not have a tactile sense of the ground, but it probably knows when it's making connection with the ground.
Yeah.
And things.
Like, I wonder how even the people that have been like, I don't know how cybernetic people are, but it doesn't seem like they go necessarily all the way.
Well, because I feel like the hardest thing in this would be, like, when do you let people go? Like, when you have a funeral in this world, assuming religion doesn't interfere with it at all, like, do you just back people up into a hard drive? Like
that one, not D&D, but that roleplay system.
Well, yeah, like Paranoia.
Yeah. Right?
Where, in that, if you die, or in Eclipse Phase.
Yeah, Eclipse Phase, that's the one. You just go back to your previous save, basically.
Yeah, you just get put into a new body at that point. Like, but that doesn't seem to be the case in this world. Like, it seems like people who die, they're gone. So I would imagine it's not a perfect process.
It also kind of feels like we're in a bit of a bubble of, like, cutting edge, if that makes sense.
Well, and this is separate from the movie, but in the movie there's like a merger between the two, and then there's a new creation that's like evolved from a singularity of both, of like human inside of machine, where it's no longer human and it's no longer machine, it's now like something else entirely.
Okay.
But this feels like it's before any of that has happened in the world, and not that that's going to happen, because they're separate from one another.
But like the world, it still seems like, I mean, I don't know what those cute little the blue spider bots were exactly, but I could definitely see certain personality types and such being programmed into them just to, I don't know, make humans more comfortable working with them. Like, especially, maybe. Like, would you be more comfortable working with a kitchen appliance if it appeared to be enjoying itself?
Yeah. Like
absolutely.
They seem to be at least on the same level as like a C-3PO.
Like, my rice cooker
but
sings me a song when it's done. I love it.
Yeah, like it said, don't worry, I'm fine. So it seems to take your concern into account, but it didn't seem to elicit any emotion. Like, it was happy that it got new oil, I guess, but it wasn't afraid or anything like that. So I wonder if it's capable of those sorts of things. It would seem counterintuitive to make them capable of that, because you wouldn't want your weapons to be afraid.
Unless you want your weapons to survive.
Maybe.
I mean, a sense of fear is a very valuable thing. It's not necessarily like... Fear's not the absence of, like, action or something. It's just knowledge of danger, kind of.
Sure.
Like, when something when you become fearful to the point of not doing something, like that's when we talk about, it's like you can't have bravery without being afraid of something in the first place. So bravery is just not the absence of fear. So I don't think you could really have the machines without that like understanding of what danger is. Otherwise, why would they jump out of the way of anything?
Sure. I really like this episode. It kind of got me in the end. Felt very attached to that. What do they call it?
They
a multi-ped tank.
Yeah. He's so cute. They ticked a couple times the natural being valued over the synthetic. Like first when with the oil thing, and then with Togoza, like being sent over to like specifically like the special job mission thing.
Sure.
And it's like you have to assume like she knows all her people. She's going to choose the best person for the job.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a relatability there and a trust. Where, like, if you're talking to a cybernetics person, like, who's to say that they don't have built-in heart rate monitors and like...
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, wouldn't it be nice to be able to see when his body temperature drops or goes up, or if he starts sweating, or any of those many things, or to be able to see at such a speed where you can see like micro expressions or something like that. Like that would all be very valuable. But she sent Togoza, and again, when the sniper Saito was shooting the bot while he was relying on
the satellites
and technology and such, she couldn't hit it. But as soon as he did it just by visual, he got a shot off. I'm not sure exactly.
Well, yeah, it got off a smoke screen and he did hit it, but it didn't stop it.
Yeah. But like as soon as they went back to like, just your basic, hands quicker than the eye thing.
Yeah, it was sort of like a Psycho Manus Metal Gear thing where he's reading your inputs, so you have to change the controller port. He had to turn off his targeting computer and use the good old fashioned
use the force.
Optical senses.
So that seemed to be being ticked several times in this.
Yeah, and I love just this world and this technology and the designs of everything as well. Like his eye that has the lens cover.
Yeah.
So it's like an eye patch, but it's actually... Mm-hmm. I mean, it is an eye patch, I guess, but it's hiding something that sees more than... what's the quote we just watched the other day? You can see more than most men can see. Damn it. It's from Big Trouble in Little China.
With the potion.
Yeah.
See things no man can see. Do things no man can do.
Yeah. Major, again, was really the one that saved the day.
Mm-hmm. Connecting with the enemy.
Risking her own brain.
Yeah.
Because who knows how that's going to go.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what she did. I
think she just shorted it, basically.
I think Bato might have warned her against if you before she basically got through that great big red code part.
Yeah. He said you don't know what's gonna happen. You could fry your own brain.
Yeah, but I don't think she did that with the intention to kill him. I think it was more of just save the people sort of thing, and that side effect of the weird mind meld real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, that seemed to surprise her at the very least. They seem to be on the cutting edge of technology, so we have to kind of wonder if the things they experience have never been experienced before.
And it makes me think too, if this was real and available, how far would I go modifying my body? I know your feet give you trouble with pain and stuff. Would you cut those suckers off and replace them?
I think I was about 10 years old, and I was thinking, I wonder if it would be very expensive.
But would you prefer natural or synthetic? If you wanted to be stronger, would you go to the weight room and lift weights, or would you just
get an upgrade?
Just get an upgrade and make yourself stronger. I do like the sort of half measure of them being able to be in the tanks and pilot them. I I think that's really cool of having mechs and like powerlifting suits and stuff where you could just step into something and be something more, but then you can also be yourself too. It's like a either or sort of thing, not a forever. But I remember when I watched Fullmetal Alchemist the first time, I was like, I would cut off my limbs right away if I could have automail.
I know. It's one of the first things you told me. Is like whenever that happens, Maggie, I'm going to go all the way. I'm like, how much all the way?
Yeah, I really love this show. I mean, we didn't get a lot on our characters necessarily.
Yeah, we keep seeing more of the world, but we don't necessarily see how they feel about the world.
It'll be interesting because, you know, it reminds me a lot of Star Trek. And Star Trek has episodes where it focuses on the characters, and it has episodes where it focuses on, like, the world and the technology and the aliens and such.
Yeah, Star Trek's a lot more classically sci-fi in the fact that it explores the moral conundrums associated with all of
which I think this is too.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love sci-fi for that reason.
No, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it so far.
Oh gosh, I remember it again. We've seen them like connect brains up before, but I think what was different about this time is that she was maybe getting like memories and such, whereas before they were basically just sharing sensory inputs at the moment. So it's kind of like breathing through the same like underwater tank sort of thing, like, or doing something at the same time.
Well,
smoking the same
it was
cigarette
more
or something. I don't know.
It was more just like borrowing a car, right? Like he put his brain in the geisha's body. Yeah,
but he talked about how they like to switch. Like I can imagine just basically being like, okay, you're not necessarily like, you know, connecting brain to brain. You're just switching who's getting what inputs. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but there's no.
Whereas this moment was different because she was like getting his feelings, basically what it felt like at the big end, where she was talking about how it wasn't pride or.
She said she got like a lack of feelings. And like an intent in his memories from the flashes that we saw. But I do wonder if she did feel anything or if she was just startled by a complete lack of feeling. Because, I mean, she seems pretty, what's the word? Not rugged, but like...
Cold? Distant?
She seems controlled. But I imagine she still feels plenty of things. So maybe that isn't something that does carry over and did carry over for him.
Yeah, so they're missing the chemicals. Them sweet, sweet chemicals. Serotonin.
But yeah, really good stuff. I love this one even more than the last one. And it's so gorgeous. Like, I enjoy today's anime, but nothing beats this time period for me in terms of animation and such.
Well, all the people also look. I don't know. There's just something about like you can tell main characters. They've got that main character like flair of like it's like, you know, you joke where it's like, oh, I know who the main character is. They're the one with the pink hair or something like that. They're drawn and they're all so individual. I really like that. How you can instantly tell like if this person's more important, this person's more important, and then the rest of the guys are just, you know, tank mechanics. And they use that against you a little bit, like with the that guy, the Oba guy. It's like he had that kind of like mousy little kind of quiet sort of person aesthetic. So he didn't seem super important. He didn't seem like someone that makes the big decisions. Sure. So you could definitely see his personality getting maybe overwhelmed by someone who had a grand plan.
And a mullet.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching our reaction to Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. Make sure you subscribe so that you catch the next one next week, as well as all the other reactions that come out. And if you just can't wait, you can head over to patreon.com/blindwave, where you can see the next 4 reactions right now. Not just to this show, but to all of the shows that we're doing now that are not live.